Hi, my name is Brian Forbes, and this is my ePortfolio presentation for my comprehensive exam. As you can see, when we go into the candidate information, my online portfolio begins with a little bit of information about myself, some background as far as how long I've been teaching, what my professional experience is in the realm of educational leadership, and then also some personal facts about myself as well. Here there's an introduction video that explains what the portfolio is going to be about, and I've also included some professional and personal goals that kind of lead me into the future for the next 3, 5, 10 years moving forward from this point. Including, in addition to my introduction, I also have a philosophy of educational leadership. We can see here on this page I have included a document that outlines the things that I believe, things I plan to do, and kind of just the overall philosophy of what's going to guide me in my future leadership roles. You can see that I really care about issues such as positive culture, caring for my employees and the students underneath me, talking about how to correct things like negative culture, building community, and then things that I will do. I'll use my words to reflect my personality, my leadership style. I will lead by example. I'll lead with purpose, and I expect to persevere through difficult situations because, as we know, being a building leader isn't always an easy task. On the next tab, we can see my program of study includes basically a breakdown of all the classes that I've taken, including the dates in which I took them. So you can see for utilization of technology, I took that course in June of 2017. For educational research, I took that in from August to October of 2018, and then basically so on and so forth from that point forward. You can scroll down and see all the courses and then the dates that I entered in which I took those courses. Next, you'll see my resume. In my resume, you can see that I have a listing of kind of all the basic information that one would find on a resume, including my contact information. But more importantly, we talk about my certifications held. So I expect to be gaining my building leadership license later this year. I think I actually will take the test maybe in February, so that date will probably have to be adjusted. But I have my current teaching license and its expiration date. And I also include all my work experiences, starting from the most recent and the present to the oldest. So what my teaching position is now as a Pathways teacher. I used to be a link or a writing instructor and then an English teacher back in Oklahoma. I've listed some extracurriculars, things that are pertinent to my professional experience anyway, as far as coaching and leadership roles, any other things that I've taken on, like class sponsors, and then organizations I've been involved with. And then also at the very bottom here, I have just a very quick snippet of my education. I got my bachelor's from Northeastern State University in Tahlequah from Oklahoma, and then now I'm getting my master's degree in Fort Hays State University, and then my GPA is included in there as well. If everything goes well in this very last course, I will hope to finish up with a 4.0. After my resume, we can go into the activities list. One of the activities we had to do for this ePortfolio was to complete a bibliography page, an annotated bibliography that lists all the different articles that we had read that had things to do with elements of the courses that we've taken or subjects that have been brought up between them. And so you can see here I have in APA format the author's name, the name of the article or book that I read, and then publication information, including page numbers and things at the end. And then underneath each is just a kind of a quick summary of what that text was about and how it's applicable to my future profession as a building leader. And then basically I tried to select for this annotated bibliography just different peer-reviewed articles or books, journals, things that I thought were one, impactful, but two, also connected back to my coursework. So here, like we can see, changing conceptions of time, implications for educational research and practice. This one had to do with one of the courses I just took for educational research. Another one here I looked at was state's expectations for teachers' knowledge about school law. So that one was related to my school law course. African American and white adolescent strategies for managing cultural diversity in a predominantly white high school. That one was as a result of my cultural student cultures course, cultural diversity. And then we could go through the entire list, but so for instance, we'll look at one more: staffing for success, linking teacher evaluation and school personnel management and practice. So that's about basically staff supervision, and that goes with my coursework that deals with being a building leader. And then again, you can keep going through, and all of them have to do with either things like school law, student services, special education, cultural diversity. There was some articles in here about school finance, and all of these are going to help me moving forward. And it's really just the start. This isn't where research ends. It's kind of an ongoing process moving forward. Next, we have kind of an archive of all of my activities that I've performed for the 3 different categories for elementary, secondary, and my district. As we scroll through the elementary, we'll see on the left-hand side, I have listed the category for the IS LLC standards, for the professional standards, and then the function that goes with each. I've included an image, sometimes videos or things that prove what I worked on, and then also beneath the standard is also a description of what that standard is and how I met that standard through the activity. So as we scroll down, you'll see that I have met the requirements for all of the different activities for the minimum number, and then also the hours will be logged on the activity log sheet showing that I met 150 hours or more. So some of the examples of things that I did here in elementary, for instance, one of the things I worked on is actually something I got from one of my courses. We talked about like educational systems and advocacy. So talking about advocating for students' rights, for equality, and this one was about people first language. So even though this is something I had learned about in class, I'd actually taken the presentation I made and brought it to Clear Creek Elementary, where I spoke with the principal there and talked about, is this something that we can include maybe during a professional development day, and I could come over and share it with the staff. And there was a lot of shadowing opportunities I had over at Clear Creek, and that's where most of my experience for the elementary school activities came from. Some of the other things, well, most of them were about professional development. I did get a couple of opportunities to work with, like the elementary PTA, for example, and Teacher Appreciation Week, talking about just working with stakeholders in our community and managing resources, both for the good of the staff and the students. Some other activities include my secondary activities. You can see here it's kind of a list similar. I'm currently a secondary teacher, and I hope to be a secondary administrator either in the middle school or the high school level. So the majority of my activities and hours did come from this section. You can see, like, again, the category and the function, my description, and then all of the things that I worked on. The largest activity by far is this very first one. I was kind of the tip of the spear for working on the KISA involvement. We really began our what's called the year 0, which is really just your first year KISA round, where you survey the staff and find out what the stakeholders feel your building rates at in all of these different criteria on these rubrics. I adapted all the rubrics to an electronic format through Google Forms. Then I collected that information and was able to show it off to the staff, my administrators, and then we were able to make more educated decisions on what kind of building goals we needed, and we passed those along to the district. Many other things that I did were presentations to staff, again, about things like student data. I came up with technology standards for the building and for like appropriate behavior for students online and offline as well for behavior management. And so again, you can scroll through and we can see all the different things such as Monticello Trails admission tickets. I made a poster that basically outlined the jobs for everybody, so that way when we have new ticket takers and things, they can know the process for like how to track tickets, how to collect cash, who counts it, and who has to double check it. Electronic managing of records and things, especially for funds. So that's one of the things we worked on. And again, we can scroll through and we can see things such as emails between myself and my principal that shows evidence and videos that I created, more pictures of myself doing the activities. Same thing is going to basically be true for the district category as well. As we scroll through, we'll see there's emails from people like the Director of School Improvement, who talks about some of the information that I've submitted for KESA. Joe Kelly, our Curriculum Instruction Director, he basically coordinates new coursework and things, and we work together to formulate one of the new classes this year, which is a Pathways course, and so we kind of talked about protocols for those things. And then also just implementing some other professional development opportunities throughout the district, especially on district days where we come together as an entire district to receive professional development. Here's one that was presented to the school board, actually. It's kind of a collection of student data and other information, such as attendance rates and a breakdown of minorities, males and females, teacher-student ratio, and other things. Okay, next, basically, we can go to the reports. The activity form, this is the form that I filled out that tracked all of my activities. I will say this is something that I didn't do the best job at as far as like starting my portfolio early on. I kind of just collected, documentation and dates and things and entered it all in at the end. It still worked out okay, but it probably would have been better for me and a little less time consuming if I'd have done just a little bit here and there. So basically my activity log here will show all the different standards and levels in which I completed activities in. It'll talk to you about the activity description that I entered in and the date ranges for those activities, including the different hours for those activities. Basically, I found that most of my activities kind of ranged, especially for things like professional development, anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 hours, somewhere around in there. Some of them really took up a lot of time, like my KESA activities, especially for my building and for the district. Those really ate up a lot of hours. So I kind of went well over the 150 total hours. My administrator evaluation, I met with my building principal to talk about how I was progressing as a potential building leader, and we went through all of these things about discussing my portfolio and looking at activities and talking about my resume. And so that led to some really good conversations about my future and just, kind of how difficult it can be to find a building leadership job at certain levels, especially in the middle school. So it's kind of another point. But anyway, Melissa Hansen's my principal, and she signed off on this form, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Next, we have the faculty evaluation tool, which will probably be completed by faculty and staff after speaking with me and watching this video. I also included a reflection here as well that talks about my experience in the portfolio and then just the whole comprehensive exam itself, what it's taught me, my ability to reflect back on my time during the program, filling out this portfolio, and basically what it's taught me and moving forward, what it's going to do for me. And then really the last thing I have is my comprehensive exam. This will be the last thing that I do. I'll insert this YouTube video here, and then on November 6th, I believe, is a Tuesday. That is the day that I have my comprehensive exam with my advisor. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I know that I've really learned a lot here at Fort Hays, and I think the ePortfolio has been fantastic. I think it's going to help me moving forward, not only just to pass my test for licensure, but also hopefully to get a building leadership position. And I couldn't be more thankful to everybody and everything that has, come from Fort Hays. It's made me a better educator. It's going to make me a better principal, and I definitely think it's made me a better person. So thanks for taking the time to watch this portfolio review, and have a great day.